Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all news, comics, and media related to the Transformers. On this episode, we get some more info on the Energon Universe from Skybound's panel at New York Comic Con. We get a fan artist's impression of a teaser trailer for next year's prequel movie Transformers 1, and we've got more listener feedback on the return of Transformers comics. Today is Friday, October 27th, 2023, and this is episode 361 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that hopes the Energon Universe has enough fuel in the tank. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
Apollo, aka Robo Apollo.
Hello, everybody.
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
What's happening? Let's talk Transformers.
As always, we start off the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who support us on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you all so much for continuing to help us out and keep the show going. If you are not a Donatron and would like to become one, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support. That's where you can sign up. Get some perks. Part of that is some bonus content. We've got season 1 of our bonus show, We Like Big Bots. That's done by Daryl and Dr. Pants. That is all available on our Patreon page. And season 2 coming soon-ish. We'll see.
Season 2 is what's next. Yes.
We've also got our Transformers live play RPG podcast, Empire of Rust. That is available at transmissionspodcast.com/rust. We've got lots of episodes of that. Season 1 and 2 are all complete. And as we get ready for season 3, we've got a bonus show. It's called The Rustford Files. And we're up to episode 3, War of the Shells. So that came out this week. So first 3 episodes, then 3 more episodes of our special, The Rustford Files, and then back to the main story. So check that out. This is remixes our players. Players are playing all different characters. Mike is playing, not game mastering. So it's a very different show, a little bonus content, a little bonus treat for Empire of Rust listeners. Of course, we've still got our code for 15% off all your toy labels at toyhacks.com. So use our code Skybound for October. That will be good until October 31st. And then we'll give you a new code in November. So keep using that code. Help us out. Help the show. Help Toy Hacks out. And help yourself out with 15% off discount at toyhacks.com. You can also get our exclusive Transformers #1 cover. This is, Skybound kicking off the new Energon Universe with Transformers. You can get our cover at our website, transmissionspodcast.com/comic. We've got a bunch left, so they are getting pretty steadily ordered. So get yours while supplies last. And last bit before we get into alt mode talk, we did want to mention our friends John Barber and Andrew Griffith are launching a new sci-fi comic called Signa. So you can take a look at that. We'll have a link in the show notes to their mailing list. You can join that mailing list and get more information about Signa. We will be talking with them on a mini episode for Transmissions that'll be up. That if it's not up already, it'll be up very soon. So take a look. We'll be talking with John and Andrew, and then we'll talk about launching this comic. The comic will be launching next year, and we'll have more information then. But right now, we'll just have a little teaser announcement. So check that out. It looks pretty cool. All right, let's start at the show and do some comics news. All right, we had a couple weeks ago we had New York Comic Con, and the Skybound had an Energon Universe panel. So this is a recap of that panel on Skybound's website. It is very all the other titles heavy, so they talk a lot about Duke and Cobra Commander and Void Rivals. Not a whole lot about the main Transformers series, but each of these series are tying heavily into Transformers. So both Duke and Cobra Commander are reacting to the Transformers' presence on Earth. So G.I. Joe looks like it will be basically founded as a response to the threat of the Transformers, probably more specifically the Decepticons. Cobra Commander, we're not sure what's happening with him, how he's going to form Cobra, like if he is going to have some involvement with the Transformers as well. I have seen speculation that the pistol that Cobra Commander has is actually Megatron in disguise. That is not confirmed. That's just a rumor I've seen online or speculation.
Look like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, speculation, maybe wishful thinking, but I'm not. We're not making any promises here.
Yeah.
So that would be curious. Like, why is Megatron in gun mode, and why is he helping or Cobra Commander? Or is this like that old Marvel Comics issue where Megatron hit his head and thought he was just a regular gun, and like just did everything that guy wanted him to do? So we will hear more about that when those series come out. But yeah, I mean, I wish could have been at that panel there. I think I won't mention any other details that get too spoiler heavy, but it does look like they are having fun with this Energon universe. Robert Kirkman in particular is talking about how he did like all his career has been creator-owned stuff, and now he's playing with gets to play with these toys in the toy box that he had never played with before, as a comics creator. So it looks interesting. Also, like, and for you, Daryl, Josh Williamson was saying that he's looking to up the level of violence after he saw what they did in Transformers #1. He's like, well, I can match that in my Duke and Cobra Commander series. So look for some more violence coming.
No comics code anymore, so
it's true.
All right, that's all from New York Comic Con and the Energon Universe. But I did want to. So we have Apollo on. This is the first time you've been on since Transformers #1 has been released. So we did a review a couple weeks ago, but I did want to get your thoughts. So we had Daryl's thoughts last week. So why don't you tell us what your thoughts were on Transformers #1?
All right. Is this a spoiler free or not spoiler free?
Spoiler period has passed.
Okay, spoilers period.
Full spoilers. Yeah,
okay.
Full spoilers.
Okay, so people listening, if you have not read it, like stop listening now. So I liked it. I'm trying to go into this with an open mind because, I really loved IDW's work, especially part 1 or the phase 1, not phase 2 so much story wise, but I love the art from IDW 1 and 2. And so just going into this with an open mind, like, okay, like we know Robert Kirkman's a huge Transformers fan. We know that the main artist, blanking on his name, it starts with a D. Daniel Warren Johnson. He is a huge Transformers fan too. So it's like, okay, we know that these people who are working on this love Transformers. So
and he's the writer and artist for this book. So
oh wow,
he's doing everything.
Kirkman's writing Void Rivals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So so thanks for adding that info in. So, we know that they love it. So I'm going into it with that. And I can tell that they really, that he really loves Transformers. Like there's so much detail in the artwork. I love how much contrast there is with the use of inks, like the dark ink. And I love that in the work. I thought it was really interesting how the arc, it's kind of like a fresh G1-esque story, like the arc starts reviving people again, and then, but Megatron is missing, which is not what happened in original G1. And Starscream appears to be the leader of the Decepticons. And, I think I was really taken aback, though, by, you hinted at earlier, the violence in it. This is not your G1 violence with the fun sound effects. It's like, they are trying to kill each other. Like it is really apparent. And, at the end when Starscream, has the one human and just squish and they show that. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, oh, maybe why is he my favorite character again? I had a moment where I had to pause and be like, I'm questioning everything now. But it made the whole thing with the Decepticons that they are actually a threat. I know IDW had, an all hail Megatron, the Decepticons did kill a bunch of people in that story. But to me, even reading the story, because it really focused a lot on the robots in that, or on the Transformer characters, it didn't really I didn't feel the they're really hurting people, if that makes sense. Like this, when I was reading it, it's like, oh, the Decepticons are actually very dangerous. They're not just a bunch of misfits that keep messing up, but they don't actually hurt people. It's no, they are serious. The one thing that I remembered reading, which I thought was interesting, that Starscream, I believe, called Optimus Prime evil, if I'm remembering correctly. I thought that was very interesting, and I don't know if any of you guys remember that, but because I only read it once, and this is a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was. I think it was. He was when Starscream was revived, and he shoots Bumblebee in the head. Mm-hmm. And then Jetfire's like, what are you doing? And he's like, that symbol, he points to the Autobot symbol and says that symbol represents true evil and you got to get with the program. And so, mm-hmm. This, and of course, the Decepticons, they're the bad guys, but they don't think of themselves as the bad guys. They're the heroes of their own story. So of course, from their perspective, the Autobots are evil. So
yeah,
I like that.
I do too. That really stood out to me. And I don't know if we're going to find out a backstory as to why he thinks, or him and the other Decepticons think the Autobots are evil. It's well, did the Autobots actually do some shady stuff? Or is it just, because the Decepticons are bad that they just automatically think the Autobots are bad just because they're the opposite of them? So that would be interesting to find out. I wonder, Megatron not being there, it allows the other characters, I think, of the Decepticons at least, to kind of take up more space, because Megatron's such an imposing figure and character that whenever he's there, people are just kind of or the Decepticons are kind of oh yeah, I need to do what he says or he's gonna kick my ass, it's poor Starscream gets the brunt of that because he speaks up against Megatron. So so it's going to be interesting when Megatron shows up. I did hear some of those theories, mentioned earlier, that he's going to be linked up with Cobra Commander, whether he is stuck in gun mode or it's something like Transformers Animated, where he finds Megatron and rebuilds him. I've heard that theory too. So I'm looking forward to reading more of it. I think it's going to be very violent, though, it sounds like. So I just gotta Daryl's over there going like this, and I'm like, I'm just gonna prepare myself, and we'll see what happens with it. So, but I was excited reading it, and it's just nice that we have a Transformers comic again, because we went so long without one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think as long as, I think I can, like, the violence is okay as long as it's not like super graphic. I mean, I think that strikes the right balance. Like, I mean, yeah, I expect Decepticons to kill people because they're, they are pretty ruthless. So, but yeah, I mean, I do like, I think Starscream's character was pretty well captured here, because it's like, he's, he wants to be the leader. He wants he wants to take charge, and the other Decepticons are kind of with Megatron absent. They're kind of like, okay, you can take charge, but they don't give him quite the respect that Megatron gets. They're like at the end when they're like, okay, we're low on energy, someone has to go get more energy, and they're all like, well, it's your response. You're the leader. It's your responsibility. You got to do it. Yeah. and he, it's just funny to see Starscream's character really, like, his combination of kind of like opportunism, but also like he's very like it's like peevish or just like very, very resentful of that people don't give him the respect he thinks he deserves, and all that kind of shines through in this one issue here. So I thought that was really well done. Like, particularly Starscream and Optimus Prime got really nice character moments throughout this comic. So I hope that's an indication of things to come. So yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Apollo. And yeah, we'll keep reading. So I don't know when we're gonna do issue 2, but if you're on during that week, we'll have you back for that review. So
cool.
Let's look forward to that.
Yes.
All right. Let's move on to some media news.
This is a thing, I guess. Possible teaser trailer for Transformers 1 shown during China's licensing expo this year. This is, I mean, we have nothing to use as an image, so someone's child drew this for us.
I think it was the guy himself, like the language, like, so they translated the whatever the Chinese person posted. They said, I saw the teaser trailer, but we couldn't take any videos or pictures, so I drew this. This is my recollection of what the characters look like. So this is kind of like the worst version of a rumor telephone game, yes. whatever it's like. So yeah, so this is not what they will look like in the actual movie. This is a artist's rendition of what they kind of look like based on what they saw in the teaser trailer.
This is like the game of telephone in terms of
amazing
drawing.
It's the worst. The attendee was kind enough to draw a pic. Were they? Was they kind?
Let's start with rumors.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, I mean, so there's a teaser trailer out there. I don't even want to get into what they think they remember seeing. I just want to say that there's a teaser trailer that exists now, and that it's possible that it's out there, and that it likely contains Megatron and Orion packs. So, yeah, this image is horrible. I can't stop looking at it. It's like a car crash.
That's why I'm leaving it up there for you.
Yeah.
If I mean, I would guess we might get the actual teaser trailer by the end of this year.
I hope.
So then we can get excited for it, because it's supposed to come out next fall. So that should be.
Just remember, the more PR they put behind a movie, the better they are expecting it to be. So if we don't see anything, then we gotta worry, because it'll be horrible.
You think this is a PR stunt?
Well, no, I mean, this is just terrible image. This is a licensing expo in China, so I mean, it would make sense that this is about the time where they're going to vendors and trying to, drum up, all of the standard licensing stuff where they can put the brand on everything.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't use this picture on the packaging.
Yeah, this is what the movie looks like.
This guy should have just stuck to writing some text. They should not have drawn a picture.
I'm gonna use this for the art for the episode.
Yeah, do it, Jeremy, do it.
This is bad. But so, I mean, the movie that is coming out is supposed to be is done by ILM. That's the graphics house behind it. This image is not indicative of that. The ILM should be suing this guy for making people think that this is an image from the movie. So hopefully we see something from this movie very, very soon. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, what if though this is what they look like? It's just better, like more refined art, like. I
mean, so if this is what they look like and it is kind of just like CGI, ILM styled stuff, I mean, I'm fine with that. This is supposed to be an origin story of the Transformers kind of thing and why everything kind of went to shit, but. I have no problem with telling that story and them not being real Transformers at the time, because they really haven't discovered the ability yet. But this, I mean, these body styles and stuff like that, they just look like standard robots. It's not a a Transformers movie needs to have transforming in it. That's kind of it's necessary. So. Yeah. Hoping at some point they have the ability to transform in the movie, but I have no problem with them starting off with these designs. It's
Yeah, and it's just like, how accurate is this person's memory? Because like if we go by their memory, Megatron's eyes are yellow, which that would be interesting if they start off yellow. While he's like still good, and there's like this circular. It looks like there's like this circular thing in both of their chests. So that's interesting. If this person's memory is accurate, and if these sketches are anywhere near accurate to actually was shown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have to wait a little while to see, I guess. So. All right. One other thing before we go off of media news. We don't have any other media news topics, but we did want to just comment on the Toys That Built America. So we mentioned that last week that show came out. It featured Transformers and GoBots, and so we all got a chance to watch it last week. I mean, so if you're a hardcore Transformers fan or a casual Transformers fan, there's probably not a lot of new information in these these little docudrama things. But I did think what I thought was interesting about this particular show was how they framed it as a David versus Goliath, GoBots, Tonka versus Hasbro, GoBots versus Transformers. They throw little touches in, like the marketing in Tonka actually came up with Transformers, but they were like, that's too complicated. That we need a simpler name. Let's go with GoBots. So I thought that was funny. And I also liked they talked about Bob Budiansky. We've seen him at several conventions. He tells great stories about how he came up with all the names for the original G1 characters. And they have a scene with an actor, posing as Bob Budiansky, and that the weekend that he comes up with all these names. Although they throw a little shade at him, they're like, the Marvel tapped on editor Bob Budiansky with an editor with little writing experience to come up with the names. I'm like, that's not cool. I mean, and they could have got Bob Budiansky himself to they interviewed a bunch of people. They could have interviewed him and they interviewed him on the Toys That Made Us, that Netflix show. So I don't know, but I thought also it was funny. They specifically told the story about how he came up with Megatron, but then they skipped what I thought was the most interesting part was how Hasbro rejected Megatron name because they thought it was too violent. And then he had to convince them that, you want your bad guy to have a violent sounding name. I thought that was the most interesting part of the story. They cut that out in the show. So, but yeah, I mean, the rest of it was interesting. Of course, it's always funny, like when you're watching the show and they have some of the original toys in there, and you're like, there were no Headmasters in the original '84 run. Why are they playing with Headmaster toys when they're talking about the original '84, '85 run? So that's always, you can always spot the small continuity errors in their reenactments. With that's always fun to look at. But other than that, if you want like the Cliff Notes version of Transformers, like the origin of Transformers history, it's a good little, it's a nice hour, like 45-minute show. They also had the guy, what's his name, Henry Orenstein, the guy who actually went to Japan and saw the Diaclone toys and then brought them and Hasbro together. That's the guy who he made it to, like, he only died a couple of years ago. He was like in his late 90s when he died, and they had a bunch of articles on his life and everything. I believe he was a Holocaust survivor and everything. So it was cool that they had his, like, him as the catalyst, and they showed that little moment in the show. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't aware that there was Hasbro ran into a last minute lead issue in the paint. Yeah. And, so that was new to me, but I thought it was enjoyable. That type of show just kind of sucks me in regardless, but I thought they did a really good job.
Yeah.
Completely different from the completely 100% true history that Tom Scioli did with Transformers versus G.I. Joe.
I was looking at it as when they were telling the Budiansky story, I was like, are they going to mention the Denny O'Neil did it? And then just I'm not doing this anymore. And then that's why Bob got it. And that's, he came up with Optimus Prime, but no, they didn't mention any of that. And I can see why they would cut it. It's very, very minute, but he's the most important character in the franchise, and he is the one who came up with that name. But it is just, it gets kind of sucked under Bob Budiansky's, umbrella because he came up with so many at this point. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I watched it with the family while we ate dinner one night because I wanted to get it done and out of the way just so I could say that I watched it. I did notice when you were talking about the Headmasters there, I was looking at that one specifically because they had, was it Hardhead? And I was like, I think the Hardhead toy that they have there is actually the Titans Return one.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm like, I think that figure is from 2017. So but I mean, yeah, it's continuity and then, a time error. But yeah. I mean, the casual fans is who it's meant for, and they won't pick that up. So it's fine. It's like the when the Goldbergs had Optimus Prime on there, and it was the 92 or whatever reissue. So Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
All right. Well, that's I think that's all our media news. So we will finish up the show with some feedback.
All right. We have some feedback from YouTube. This is from Jay of Snow, and he posted this on, I believe it was our last episode.
Yep.
He said, just when I think I can go back to a single copy of an issue, they reveal a super beautiful Quintesson Judge to be on the cover of Void Rivals #5. I'll have to make the drive to hit the bigger shop on Wednesday just to see if I can snag this one. Like Charles, I am not sure when these links will pay off organically, but I can hear this cover say guilty, and it brings a smile to this donator's face. And I replied on YouTube that his use of donator brings a smile to some of our faces too.
Oh,
Not me. Not me.
And I think I said that you can just hear Charles grumbling.
Yep.
Grumble, grumble, grumble.
Yeah, but it's awesome. Yeah. That Quintesson image was great.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, although I guess this will be too late that Jay might not see this, but I don't know if it's out this week. Is it coming out this week, or is it next week? Or
Well, I mean, I think maybe he's gonna just request it from the store, see if they can grab it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just don't want him to drive 2 hours to get to the store and be like, "Oh, that's issue's not out yet."
I mean, I'm sure you can call your store, Jay, and check before you make the drive.
Yeah, so Void Rivals #5 is this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's the 1 in 50 variant.
Yeah, so yeah, call first to make sure they can snag that one for you.
Yep.
So that's all we had for new feedback. If you would like to send us feedback, go to transmissionpodcast.com/feedback, and you can leave us a voicemail through a widget on that website, or do like Jay did and just leave a comment on our YouTube page, or on the blog post for this podcast, and we will be happy to discuss it on the show.
No one leaves comments on the website anymore.
Yeah.
And it's been a while.
It's like a die-cast toy. It's
Mm-hmm.
very rare.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lost art.
All right. Well, that's all for feedback, and that's it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. As always, at the end of every episode, we give a shout out to our masterpiece donatrons. These are the folks who continue to support the podcast at our highest level on Patreon. So thank you once again to John 4x11good and Demon Tech 82. We really appreciate your support. That's why we give you a mention in every episode. And Apollo, thank you again for hanging out with us this week. And I think you're going to be back next week too. So
Yes.
Thanks for coming out. And why don't you tell everyone where they can find you online?
All right. Yeah, it's always fun to be on here. So I am on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky at RoboApollo, and getting back into drawing. So you'll be seeing regular drawings from me again. Yay. I'm also, I'm also on the Transmissions Discord, and it's a really fun community to be a part of. So check that out if you haven't. There's a Wednesday hangout session where a group of us, I try to go every Wednesday, but I usually go maybe once a month. But there's a regular group that shows up and talk about what they bought for Transformers, and it's really fun. I
was doing some really late work on this last week, and y'all were up really late. Mm-hmm. Like it was like, I think after 1 a.m. my time. So I mean, not so late for you, but I know the East Coast folks that were in there. Yeah, they stay up pretty late. Like I bailed around, I think it was 11 p.m. Pacific time. So it was pretty late when I bailed, but yeah, it tends to go to very late nights.
Wow. All right, everyone. Well, thanks again for watching and listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.